Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Now this video can be blamed on Jason Hanrahan. It's all his fault. And I mean it in the nicest possible way. He did a video, 4 or 5 days ago on 5 easy trees for beginners. And one of the trees he mentioned was a Fuji cherry, which is Kojo no Mei. And it reminded me that I had one because it's been stuck over in the corner of the garden in the shade, desperately trying to survive the heat, which it sort of has done. I bought this tree a long time ago, and my original plan was to turn it into a bonsai, because when I got it, it already had this going on. That was already part of its structure. And things change. There's a story with this. Over on the Orchid Channel, one of my orchid friends from Ireland, her son died rather tragically at about age 12, something like that, as a youngster. And that must be heartbreaking for a family to have something like that happen. And in memory of her son, she started a project called #GrowItForJosh, and she wanted people to dedicate a plant. Now, I mean, she runs an Orchid Channel and plants, and writes for a magazine in Ireland and all sorts of things. But most of the people that dedicated a plant for Josh dedicated an orchid. And one of the videos she did, which must have been incredibly hard to do after such a loss relatively soon afterwards, she stood under Josh's favourite tree, which was a cherry tree. Now, I was living in my mum's house at the time, so I didn't want to go planting anything in the ground, if you know what I mean. So I thought, how can I have a cherry tree in a pot? And I came across this one, and it is a genuine miniature. It does keep its leaves small, and it has a habit of doing twisty-turny, gnarly sort of growths on its own. We sort of, we spend ages trying to get that effect on bonsai, and this one does it all on its own. But I decided to dedicate this one to Josh. So this was my Grow It for Josh tree. And as a consequence, I changed my mind and decided not to turn it into a bonsai and to just let it grow. And that's what's been happening. I haven't touched it, so what we've got now is a change of heart, and I am going to turn it into a bonsai. But to get it out of this pot, obviously it's got to wait till late winter, early spring at bud break. I don't want to do anything prior to that. But what I might do, when the leaves drop and I can see what I'm doing, I might get rid of things like crossing branches and extended growths and things like that, so that when it puts its energy into the spring growth, bearing in mind the roots will have been disturbed, it won't have so many buds to push. The problem with that theory is this blooms on bare branches, and it has beautiful white with a delicate touch of pink pendulous blossoms that are tiny, and they're in scale with the tree. Now, a lot of bonsai trees that are chosen, that because they flower, the flowers are big and they don't look right, or to me they don't look in proportion. So what I'm starting with is quite a large tree, and when the blossoms come out, obviously I'll film that, as it's now going to be a bonsai. At the moment it's a conceptual bonsai. It's an idea twinkling in my eye, an idea in my little mind whirling around. But yeah, we'll let it bloom, and then basically we'll get it out of this pot, get it into a bonsai pot, give it an initial prune. There won't be any styling, I doubt. It'll be more about branch removal and opening it up so that it's not so dense. But yeah, so thanks Jason for reminding me. I had that tucked away in the garden. I mean, it's got some interest already, without doing anything to it. It's got some shape to it. As I said, I inherited that. I didn't do it. That's just how it turned up. But there's shape here. That will probably have to come off because it's like a vertical straight out of here, so I'll probably take that off there. But yeah, there's plenty to work with, and we'll give it a go and see what we can do with it. And it's because of the way it looks now, it's almost an instant bonsai. You know, once it's in a bonsai pot and I decide the angle at which the trunk is going to come out of the pot, and you know, like I say, remove crossing branches, weak branches, all that sort of stuff. I think what's left, you know, a lot of these long extensions will cut right back, but I don't want to do it until it's bloomed. I could be removing blossoms if I start trimming away this time of year. So we'll enjoy the blossoms. They're February time, I believe, if I remember rightly, and then prior to the buds pushing, we'll what's the expression? Bonsify it. I don't particularly like the expression, but we will do what we can with it. So yeah, a conceptual bonsai. It's not a bonsai yet, but it can be turned into one pretty easy. So we'll see what we can do. Say what you think. I mean, is this going to make a good bonsai? As I said, the bloom size is relative to the tree small, so they look in proportion. They look very elegant, quite honestly, the way they droop down. And as I said, once it's got its bonsai shape, then it's a matter of making sure each year that the right type of wood is left on the tree and not trimmed off, so that you get blooms every year. Because if you go mad with the pruning on this sort of tree, you cut the blooms off. Unintentionally, possibly. Oh, that branch is sticking out a bit. Yeah, that's 15 blooms you've just cut off. Anyway, I'm going to work on that next year. So it's a conceptual bonsai, twinkle in my eye at the moment, but I think it can work. I think it should work quite well. There's a lot to work with there. But then again, there's lots of branches growing back into the centre. There's lots of little twigs coming out of huge big places, and like I say, crossing branches. There's twisty-turny branches followed by a dead straight one, and so there's some stuff to come off of here, but I'm reluctant to take anything off until we've had the blooms. Then we'll go from there. See you next time.